what's going on?
I heard some gunshots.
Okay. How close to your residence were they?
They were right outside my house, and I think someone's dead.
We've talked about how David's parents seem to be the victims of a swatting incident as police investigate the death of a young girl found in the singer's car. But right now, we have the audio of the person calling in that apparent fake report to David's parents' home. And as we think about, is David being targeted? Is someone framing or harassing him? Was this person hiding their voice on the call? Let's find out when we bring on a forensic audio expert. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Okay, so we're exploring another strange, weird aspect of this whole investigation into the death of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. As we know, her body was found in the trunk of a car out in LA that was registered to viral singer 20-year-old David. Her decomposed body was found in this car that was towed to a Hollywood tow yard. And as we have covered extensively, right now there are no arrests, there are no named or identified suspects or persons of interest. And as law enforcement try to understand what happened to this girl, what were her movements, what exactly was her connection to David, was she killed or simply placed in the Tesla after her death, how long was she in the car, who put her there, all of that. One interesting question that has come out is, has David been targeted? Is he being set up? Is he being framed? And there is this recent alleged swatting incident at his parents' house in Texas. You wonder, is that connected to the Celeste investigation in some way? Well, right now, we have important audio, a 911 phone call to play for you. So, as we previously reported on an episode of Sidebar, TMZ obtained police body cam footage, and this is from days after Celeste's body was found in that Tesla, and they show up to David's Hempstead, Texas family home. So we're talking September 18th. This is after Celeste was ID'd. Now, the Texas officers, they respond to this home because there's a report of gunfire. When officers arrive at David's parents' home, the parents appear to be shocked, confused, scared, no idea who would do this. You know, calling police to their property for a fake crime, that's a serious matter. That's a serious allegation. Well, we have a new update in this. So TMZ has released the audio of that 911 phone call that started all of this. And it kind of sounds like the voice is distorted, maybe someone using a voice changer. We're going to play the audio for you. We're going to try to see if someone is masking their identity. Makes you wonder who could have done this. Is it connected to Celeste? And by the way, no arrests in connection with this call either. So we thought we'd do something different, all right? We thought, why not bring on a forensic audio and video analyst to take a listen to this call, okay? So let's welcome on to Sidebar Jennifer Owen, president of Owen Forensic Services. Thank you so much for taking the time. Real quick, tell everybody what you do so everybody knows your expertise in this field.
Okay, well, my day-to-day differs because I do forensic audio and video. But basically, I have my hands in anything that is recorded. And in this day and age, that's almost everything. And I deal with either the authenticity of those audio or video recordings, or as we could tell, the AI of today, what's real and what's not, and where the provenance or the integrity of the files are in question. That is my big day to day. But I also do voice recognition. I do clarifications on audio and video. So it's changing day to day, but I spend a lot of time telling people what's real and what's not.
Do you know what I call this? I call this the perfect guest for what we're about to do. So Jennifer, thank you. Let me real quick, I'm going to play the full call and then we're going to break it down.
Waller County Sheriff's Office, is Amber? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, Waller County Sheriff's Office.
Hello, I need help.
Okay, what's going on? Where are you at?
My address is...
Okay, what's going on?
I heard some gunshots.
Okay. How close to your residence were they?
They were right outside my house, and I think someone's dead.
Okay, what's your name?
Say it again?
What's your name? Okay, what's a good phone number for you, sir? Okay, and why do you believe that somebody's dead?
I just heard a loud scream and there was gunshots.
Oh, scream. Okay. After shots. Okay, but you haven't saw or heard anything else after that?
I heard a scream.
Was it a male or a female scream, do you think?
It was a female.
Female? Okay, we're going to go ahead and get deputies headed out that way. Just confirming you're at...
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to get them sent that way, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
All right, Jennifer, let's start here. Is someone concealing their voice in this 911 call?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
and how do you know what are they doing to mask their voice?
Well, first and foremost, just listening to it as either a lay person or if you were a forensic audio analyst, it's the robotic inflection. That's the first tip right then and there where you're like, wait a second, what am I hearing? It's the irregular vibrato, it's the inflection, and then you're saying, well, you know, it could be the way it was recorded because there's also a lot of recording problems when it goes into something like this. So just from listening, you're like, wait a second, that's a red flag. We need to dig a little bit deeper into this. And that's when you come to me and say, hey, Jen, you know, can you check this out? What are we dealing with here? Is this signs of manipulation or any kind of harmonic distortion? Or is this just a recording issue and I'm thinking outside the box? So I take a listen to it, and it's a mismatch between what we usually hear when we're speaking with someone, even on a bad line or a bad recording. So let's go a little bit further. So then I'm going to ask you about the provenance or the integrity and, you know, the source recording of where we got this from. And that brings up an issue in your business because you're constantly investigating. The truth seekers, the truth tellers always come to me and say, hey, can I put this on the air and be absolutely sure about what I'm saying here? Mm-hmm. So that brings us to, all right, I've gotten a red flag because I listened to it. So let me ask the person who gave this to me about the integrity of the recording. Now, here's the problem. By the time it gets to us or the investigators or the truth seekers, as I call everybody, or anyone in forensics, it's been stepped on and touched by a million different hands. And it's been downloaded and uploaded, and it's been over here and encoded and transcoded and rewrapped and every which way but up. So you would look at the metadata, you would look at the media information, you would look what I call underneath the hood, hexadecimal data, things of that nature to say, hey, where did this come from? And can we trust the source? And most of the time you can't. So when you're taking stuff from the internet, usually the metadata gets erased.
Right.
So we have nothing to work with. So then we got to dig a little deeper.
Obviously, this is a story that we wanted to bring to you. And the reason we can do that is because not only of the amazing support that we get from everyone out there, from you guys, but also from our incredible sponsor, Upside. This is a free app that gets you cash back on daily essentials like gas, groceries, food. So I pump my gas, I can use Upside. I go out to lunch, I can use Upside. I get something from a convenience store, I can use Upside. And why not get cash back when I do all these things, right? This is actual real cash back. It's money that appears in your Upside app that you transfer right into your bank account. So once you have the free Upside app, you claim an offer for whatever you're buying on Upside. You pay as usual using a debit or credit card. You follow the steps on the app, you get paid. To find out how much you can earn, click the link in the description to download Upside or scan the QR code on screen. But make sure to use our promo code Sidebar because you'll get an extra 25 cents back on every gallon on your first tank of gas. Let me just back up 1 second. Putting aside from the fact of, the source of it, where it came from, the fact it was published on, the internet, now everybody hears it. Just to be clear about something, when you're listening to that recording, are you suggesting A, it is a real life person using a piece of technology to mask their true voice, or is this AI generated?
Well, it could be either, but just from my experience and, 30 years of doing this, it sounded like a voice changer to me. And the reason why it sounded like a voice changer is because it all had to do with pitch. And for those of you at home, real simple, pitch is how high or how low your voice can go. And that's real easy to change. Real easy to change. You can do that with, a free app, a 99-cent app. You can do that with forensic software. If you make music, you can do that. You can do that on your WavePad. You can do that on anything. So pitch is basically just the degree of high or low of the voice. And that's the easiest way to start. But I have a sample here that I want to show you how easy it is and how by looking at it, we can say, wait a second, this is our first clue. This is the first red flag. I'm going to put this in forensic software and I'm just going to take a look at the voice formats and say, hey, how was this done?
So is this you saying this may be how the voice was changed using this piece of technology, this program? Is that what you're showing us?
It's very possible.
Okay, so show it to us.
On the law, I need help. 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 On the law, I need help.
Okay, so Jennifer, there is a possibility that someone is using a technology to mask their voice, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And how I do see that when I put it into the software, okay? Now, when you're looking at it visually, and the first thing I did was I took a small phrase, okay, from the actual recording that you sent me. And then following up on that, 4 times I changed the pitch right in a row. Then I took the pitch down 10. Then I took it down another 10. And then I raised it all the way up to what a female level would sound like. So you're talking about 4 different sections that you can see visually, because I wanted to show you this is how easy it is.
Right.
You can do this in an app. You can do this anywhere. So all you're basically doing is changing the pitch from high to low. And we can go from male. We could go from, Luther Vandross all the way up to Mariah Carey in the touch of a button.
In other words, even though on the 911 phone call, the dispatcher is referring to this person as a male, as a sir, right? This could be a woman?
It could, absolutely. Okay. Not in this, they changed their voice changer all the way and brought the pitch down so it sounds like a man, but this could be anybody.
Is there any way to pinpoint the technology that they use? You said there's a free apps. Is there any way you could say, I know exactly what this technology is. I know where you can buy it. I know who would have, maybe look at the purchase history, anything like that? Or am I thinking too deep into the weeds here?
No, you're not thinking too deep into the woods. Like I said, it comes back to the source material. And since this has been everywhere, looking underneath the hood is not going to give us that. But looking at the spectrogram and some tips and tricks that we know as forensic audio analysts, like, wait a second, regularly spaced harmonics, untouched harmonics usually have a straighter line. When you're going to see this visually, this is going to be blurry, but we call it stepped on. This is blurry, this is fuzzy, but yet, depending on where they put the pitch, the lower formats and frequencies of the fundamental frequencies stay low. They stay within the range. So that's how I know that basically someone took an app or software that's available anywhere, or it's on their iPad if they wanted to. And I'm just gonna turn the pitch up, or I'm gonna turn it down. It really is that easy.
Now here's the $1 million question. From what you've seen, is there any way to pinpoint the identity of this person? And I apologize for this question. I don't even know if there is a database out there of voices, if there is a way to take someone's voice that's not altered, you put it somewhere and you say, I could be able to identify who that person is. I'm sorry if that's a juvenile question, but A, is there a way to pinpoint the true voice of this person and be able to identify who this person is?
Well, this is the forensic question. And you know what? Unfortunately, you're going to get the answer, it depends. And again, it depends on the provenance and the integrity of the recording. What I can do, and what I showed in this example, is I showed you how I can start from the recording that you gave me, how I've changed it, and how I can bring it back to exactly what it was before. So it depends answer is, if I had that original recording and we had, an alleged or a person of interest or a couple persons of interest, and if I lowered or raised the pitch to the same frequency and we had some matching frequency, it would make a very interesting pool of suspects.
That's a great point. That's a great point. Now, let me just put it out there. If all law enforcement has at this point is just that 911 phone call that is potentially distorted, they don't have any suspect, they can't identify anybody who would have made this call, likelihood using that to be able to find someone slim?
Very slim.
Very slim. Okay. By the way, does law enforcement, do they have specific tools, other than what you've described, to identify the voice or be able to pinpoint this technology?
Well, it's not so much identifying the voice at this point. And, every regency or police district is different. But do they have software available for them to use, to study audio acoustics and so on and so forth? Most do. Are we at the point of identifying based on what little we have? I don't think so.
By the way, the pause. Did you know the very pause at the very beginning when dispatcher's saying, hello, is anyone there? There's like a pause before the voice starts talking. I was just curious if you took anything away from that. Is that someone maybe activating this technology or trying to see if I thought that pause was significant.
It is significant because in most cases, and I don't want to say this is what definitely happened because we don't know. But in most cases, I call it the fumble. People who do these sorts of things, they take that 1 or 2 seconds and they're like, I want to make sure this really works. So you have that pregnant pause of, okay, let's hit the start button or the pitch button or whatever. And just from doing this for so long, there's a lot of those.
All right, I thought that this was fascinating. We will see what comes of this, but Jennifer Owen, really appreciate you taking the time, and thank you, and what incredible work that you're doing, and I imagine with the advent of AI, you might be very busy in the years to come, so thank you so much.
No, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Now, let me just add a little bit more here, okay? Give you a little bit more context. We have the body cam of when officers arrived to David's parents' home.
I'll go out wide and keep you covered. You want to tap the door? Just wait for me, wait for me. Because I'm going to keep you covered. Go ahead. I got you covered. Come right here. There's too many windows. Here, knock on the door. We got a phone call from here saying that somebody was dead. What? Is there somebody else that lives on this property that has your address? What's your address? No. That's it.
That's it. That's what actually got.
We got an address. There was a gunshot and a woman screamed.
What?
I'm serious. That's why we came up here like this, because and then they talked to the caller. Whoever they were talking to said that there's a person dead.
No, sir. No, sir.
So officers, they have their guns drawn. They're already thinking someone was dead. There is just seemingly a lot of confusion by David's parents. They don't appear to have any idea what is happening here. They close the door, and then this happens.
Ma'am, we got to figure out what's going on so we can leave, okay?
Very advised. We made contact. They said nothing happened here. She shut the door. Now she's calling 911.
That's clear. We haven't received a call.
I believe she's going to be in the process.
Go ahead, give him a call if you want to verify it. Okay.
All right, she's calling you now. There's more that went on.
Can you repeat, sir? Broken traffic.
Oh, that's not normal activity. If you were at the wrong address, they'd be concerned about somebody else. Like really? Like, you know what I mean? Like, they'd be trying to help.
Can you send 10-42, sir?
Sorry to bother you, but somebody called and said there was something. I mean, there was a person where they called on themselves. You know what I mean? It was like, hey, there's somebody dead.
Someone's dead. Yeah.
That's what we have. I mean, we have to take caution. You know what I mean? Wasn't trying to scare y'all. This house is way off the roadway.
So you just opened the gate and came in?
Yes, ma'am. I'll put it back. I have a gate just like it.
I can get part of it in my country.
Yeah, when it's something like this, when they say somebody's dead, their life matters more than, you know what I mean?
I hear.
I didn't damage your gate. I just opened it.
And that's when they seemingly start to think, wait a second, is this a prank? Are David's parents victims of a swatting incident where someone makes a false report to police to trick them into sending law enforcement officers to a person's property? Well, look what happens next.
It ain't on their phone.
And that's not it. This is not a Texas.
Yeah, that's an out-of-state number.
Someone's messing with us.
But whoever, it would be pinged here though, because wherever they call from, it pings and sends it to dispatch.
What?
So like whenever you call 911, wherever you are, it sends like a ping. That's how they know the address.
And this address came up to this number?
Yes, ma'am. That's where he was meeting. County to engine 42.
So it says somebody on my property?
It could be. We'll check the property for you.
Yes, please.
So we'll ride around. If you can give me a layout, how's the property? Like, does it go further back?
No, it doesn't go any further back. It's just right here and then it goes right here.
The fence, there was a gate here and the fence around, which is a private fence. Okay.
Well, him and I will ride around and check, and then we'll leave.
Yeah, okay. So that was a false alarm. You see, I don't like this kind of thing. So if I really do have an emergency, then...
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Sorry.
Well, if you do have an emergency, you know we're going to be here.
Okay.
We're going to get here.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
All right.
Y'all have a good night.
Someone is messing with us. Yeah, it's very scary. It's very scary. And you can see David's mom wondering whether someone is still on the property. Now, it's not clear if David was in the home when all of this was going on, but according to TMZ, the police report indicated that officers spent another 20 minutes on the property, possibly to see if anyone was there. It appears this could have been, again, an instance of swatting. So is this connected to anything regarding Celeste? I will tell you, one thing I wonder is if there is a theory that David was framed, right, a body found in his car, does this line up with this? Well, you know what? I asked retired FBI agent Colin Schmidt about this. The timing and the circumstances of this, Weird. No, out of all times for this to happen, as the body's discovered in his car, after she's been identified, for there to be a potential swatting incident where somebody calls 911 with a fake allegation, a fake crime for their property, out of all people, out of all times, it's weird.
Well, it's weird, but it doesn't necessarily surprise me because this case has taken on national significance in terms of people paying attention to it. And there are bad actors that understand how to bring harm to somebody by way of swatting. So somebody called the 911 system down there. They found the address online and were basically made up a story for the cops to go there. And then they went in, and fortunately, the police were very professional, and they were able to immediately understand that it was a swatting incident and it wasn't a legitimate call.
What did you make of the body cam?
Body cam, I think the parents were scared to death. Law enforcement coming to their front door with guns drawn, they had a reasonable reaction that I would even have, even though I've been in law enforcement for 28 years. So that's really what the insidious nature of swatting is. You really put people at danger because those parents, if they had come to the door with a gun or resisted in some way, law enforcement would have had a duty to defend themselves, and it would have been a disaster.
Here's my thought on how this possibly is connected, and I'm curious your opinion on it. So I think it is bizarre that Celeste's body was in a car registered to David out on a public street in LA. And the reports indicate that that car was there for weeks, that it got a ticket, that it was towed, that it was impounded. Her body was decomposed. So if we assume her body was in that car for quite some time, we don't know exactly when it was deposited, but assuming it was in that car for as long as that car was parked there, it does make me think, and we've seen theories online about this, is it more likely that someone deliberately, they were purposeful to put that body in there to make sure it was found, to make sure it was connected to David, as opposed to the idea that the body was out there and it was found before the perpetrator had time to dispose of it. Now, if I accept that, if there was this idea to frame David, if he is being targeted, is it possible this alleged swatting call was done with the same intent, the same person? Is there a connection in that way, or am I really reaching here?
It's possible, but not probable. It just appears that somebody was harassing his family by way of this call. Going back to the car, you're spot on. Their car comes back so directly to him. Law enforcement has to take a step back and always ask that compelling question, or the alternative question is, was he framed? What's going on here? Is somebody really that stupid to take a car registered to them and then kill somebody and put them in there and then leave the car there for multiple weeks? So that's where it leads credence to the framing theory. But the bottom line is the law enforcement is going to gather all the facts. And now, because of the swatting, depending on where the call came from, the FBI will likely start to get involved. And eventually, law enforcement is definitely going to get the answers to all these questions.
Okay, so as we navigate all of that, let me just make one final point about Celeste Rivas Hernandez and all of this. She has been laid to rest. Reporting indicates she has been buried at Queen of Heaven Cemetery and Mortuary in Rowland Heights, California. There was a funeral service on October 6th attended by family. No indication that David was there in any way, but this kind of brings it back to the victim in all of this, and again, trying to understand what happened to her. That is all we have for you right now here on Sidebar. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us, and as always, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you should get your podcasts. You can follow me on X or Instagram. I'm Jesse Weber. I'll speak to you next time.